How about now? I forgot to put the microphone on. There, you need to look that way. Come here. Can you see him? Right, shh. Bear with me a minute. I've just lost the window. Yeah, I got loads of scenes, but they're all mixed up. I haven't sorted them all out yet. Just bear with me. Let me get this window up. I did have all this ready, and it's just all gone into different orders again now. So just bear with me 2 seconds. Come on. There we are. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now we're ready. How are we, guys? Who we got? Claire, proving demon child. Good evening. Good evening, D-Rod. Greeting from Scottsdale, Arizona. Tiff, Pfeiffer, D-Rod, Kaylee. Good evening to all you lot. So, what I want to do is we're going to have a look at a video that was on Dr. Oz. I've been trying to look at all different aspects of the case, as I do, as in my research, and all the different components in the case and all the different people that are involved. And I haven't covered Dylan Tallman and Sherilyn Cadle. I've started to cover her, but I think with Sherilyn Cadle, the problem is a lot of her book, well, her book has been pulled off the shelves. That's the reason why I couldn't get hold of it. I've now got a copy of the book, but I was going to go through the book and read it and like do different segments or different videos on the book and read it for you all, maybe on a live or maybe on a video. But it seems as if a lot of the book was plagiarized, or it's just false from another author called, I can't remember the surname, Anna, I can't remember now. But not only that, there is a statement from a legal team that the Ruziks had brought out regarding the book. So, hi Seb, hi Liz Velga. So what I'll do is I'm working on a video with Sherilyn Cadle in mind, but I'm going to try and sort out what's true and what's false. And I'm also going to cover, which I haven't touched on yet, David Carter. I have done a video on David Carter. I don't really need to do much more on him because there's not much really to say. I have spoken to David via email, but the one video I've done, I think, is enough. I mean, he's not really involved in the case, and it doesn't really need me to interview him. And what I've really come to find is I was going to do a video on Dylan Tallman, but the guy can hardly string a sentence together from what I can find on him. So it's pointless. And that's, you know, I'm not trying to be unkind to the guy. It's just what it is. So it's pointless me putting an hour's video together when the guy can't really articulate himself properly, because it'd just be boring and you wouldn't be able to understand it. So I think I will do a video covering him, but I still need to like look through the weeds and see what's true and what's false. I'd reach out to True Crime Rocket Science regarding anything Chris Watts. I don't know about that. Yeah, I do like his channel, but yeah, the letters from Christopher Buck is cringe. Well, it's false as well, see? So I'm going to do a video on what is false from Sherilyn Cadle. So I'm going to cover Dylan Tallman. I've already covered David Carter. I did say I was in talks with David Carter, and he said that at the time, this is about 6 months ago, at the time he said a couple of people had offered him money to go on and speak. Now, all this stuff is from years ago. Like, this case it's not new, is it? So he done the rounds then, and then he was doing the rounds again. And what I found is, like Sherilyn Cadle, she did all the rounds on all the podcasts at one time. went on every podcast, every man and his dog's podcast, basically. If there was a podcast, these people were on them. So it's just going in and finding what's true and what's not. On top of that, if any of you seen my last video, I've done 2 videos now on AI, and the last video was about the Aryan Brotherhood and all that, and just absolute rubbish, like. So I've got a statement here I want to read first. I'll do it on a live now. So I've had this via email. I just want to clear up a few things because I do want to stick to the facts. Because a lot of people put stuff in comments and it's just taken as it's true. I just need to find the email. I should have done this first, really. Okay, so some of the claims in that video that I said were false, because I noticed that Nick Zawoki done a video, and in my video I said I think it's all untrue, and in his video he said nobody knows whether it's true or not. So this email has come from Chris Watts' parents via Dave, and it's the truth. Regardless of what people think of certain people, this is the truth, and this is what matters. It's the truth. The claims that all the stuff that was going on in the prison yard, okay? No one is on the prison yard with Chris. He's lucky to go on the prison yard once a month. So all them claims about him by the Aryan Brotherhood every day is rubbish. He is in the infirmary, and that's where he works. He helps the sick and the elderly. He helps the sick and elderly prisoners. I've got to get my words out right because I can't take them out for the outtakes. Where he works in the infirmary is actually in the hospital bit of the prison. So if he was to fake a heart attack, he'd be in the best place, like that video said, like that rubbish AI channel said. So what's more important, I think, is this bit. There was a lot of claims in that video about Chris Watts' mother, Cindy. Now, regardless of what you think of anyone in the case, it's Chris that has done the crime. In that video, it was claimed, and look, I'm not a mouthpiece on behalf of the Watts or whatever, but I've always prided myself that this channel would tell the truth, or what I believe to be the truth, yeah? So Cindy has not done any podcast this year. The only real interview she's ever done after November 2018 was one with Miss Menza and a few with Dave. Of the publicly released conversations between Dave, Ronnie and Cindy, they are all online. So nothing has been done this year like that channel had stated. The channel also stated that Cindy had started a petition. I can't remember it. I think it was to get Chris moved, or I don't think it was to get him out. I think it was to get him moved prisons, or to reopen the case, or something like that. It was some stupid, wild claims, and it said that Cindy had got 3,000 names on a petition. Again, that is completely false. According to this, she's not started any petitions. She's in a good place, well, as good as she can be, where she doesn't think about the case too much. She has her moments, obviously. So, that has come via Dave on behalf of Ronnie and Cindy Watts, okay? Now, people can have their opinions, but we got to remember it's Chris that's done this crime. You know, I'll be the first to say that I didn't agree with how, the petition's false. I'll be one of the first to say that Cindy did not come across well in those prison interviews. But you got to remember, she was probably going through shock, and it was her son. So I'm not going to get involved and go down all this road, okay? I'm just saying what's true and what's false. And if we all can't be adults about it and think for ourselves without arguing in the comments, then that's down to you, okay? So now that's out of the way, I'd like to go into this. Let me just check the chat. Okay, so alright, let's get rid of that then for now. Okay then, guys, let's have a look at this. Now, what I will say is, this prison psychologist, or ex-prison psychologist, Christa Richello, wrote in to the prison she's attracted to male prisoners, which some women are. Chris was getting letters. You know, whatever floats your boat, I suppose. But she wrote in to Chris and Dylan Tallman, but she was trying to get into Chris, I think. Anyway, she ended up going out with Dylan Tallman, visiting him, putting money on his account and different things. And she was attracted to men in prison. Her mother was the same. Her mother fell for an ex-prisoner. I think he was an ex-prisoner. I'd have to double check that. And he looks a spitting image of Charles Manson. And there's a link to the Manson case somewhere along the line, but I can't remember. I'd have to have a look, but that's not what this video is about. So Dr. Oz interviews this Christa, and that's what we're going to have a look at now. So this is Christa, ex-prison psychologist, former girlfriend of Dylan Tallman, who is Chris Watts' ex-cellmate. Are we ready? Put a 1 in the chat if you're ready, so I know you can still hear me. The volumes are on and everything, so cool. Okay, I'm not going to interrupt this much because I haven't seen this myself. So, hey Candy, Danielle, Claire, Kaylee, Okay, guys. Jennifer, Liz, Debbie. Okay, guys. I'll go little in the corner.
And I hold just some of the messages notorious killer Chris Watts said to women who've written to him in prison since he pleaded guilty to murdering his pregnant wife and 2 little girls. Some are true crime buffs, convinced they've uncovered a conspiracy. Others are concerned moms, trying to understand what caused a seemingly loving dad to commit unthinkable evil.
So I'm not going to interrupt it all the time, but this bit in the middle here, it says prison love triangle with former prison shrink and his cellmate. I've listened to a couple of interviews and apparently she didn't tell. Well, we all know what mainstream media are like. They lie for getting the headline, don't they? So they shouldn't have put prison love triangle. She only was seeing Dylan Tallman, I think.
And some are prison groupies looking for love with the infamous inmate. Today, in an Oz Show exclusive, I'm sitting down with one of the women who's been accused of pursuing a romantic relationship with Chris Watts. Was she really part of a prison love triangle? And what did she learn about this truly disturbing father? It was a story that shocked the world. Chris and Shanann Watts appeared to be a picture-perfect couple with 2 young girls and happily anticipating the birth of their 3rd child.
So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know.
That's all.
Watching the art, the artistry.
I really need to get premium.
It was breathtaking.
Beautiful. It was almost heavenly.
It awakens something in your heart.
It's going to sit with me. I'm going to be thinking about this all week.
Sorry.
But in August of 2018, Watts' family vanished after Shanann returned from a weekend business trip, and he made a desperate public plea for their safe return. But just hours later, Watts confessed to his father that he killed his pregnant wife after accusing her of strangling their daughters.
I freaked out. Not just this. It's rage.
His story soon unraveled, and Watts was arrested and charged with killing his 34-year-old wife, 4-year-old Bella, 3-year-old Celeste, and his unborn child. Their bodies were found at an oil site where he worked, Shanann in a shallow grave, and his little girls stuffed inside oil tanks. All reportedly so he could start a new life with his mistress.
I still don't know how we got them girls in them tanks. It's sickening when you think about it. Just make sure the chat's on the top. Dr. Oz is a grifter. Yeah. Premium users don't get ads. Yeah, I know. But I think if you're a creator and you've got so many members or you've got so many subscribers, I don't think you should have to pay for premium. They take 30% off you and they want you to pay for premium as well. Right, sorry guys, I had to check you were still there.
Of just a few months. Ultimately, Chris Watts pleaded guilty to felony charges relating to the horrific murders and received 5 life sentences without parole. But within days of admitting to killing his family, he reportedly began receiving love letters in prison. And he's been corresponding with multiple women ever since. I'm joined now by Christa, who began communicating with Chris Watts a year and a half ago. So, Christa, what made you want to write a letter to a convicted murderer?
When I saw the case presented online and on the media, initially I assumed he was a monster and he did this. And then as I looked into the case more, I just, from watching the videos and how he interacted with his wife and children, there just was something there, and I just had this feeling that he did not commit this crime, and that's one of the main reasons I decided to write to him.
Chris, I'm sort of still lost. You're corresponding with someone who's in prison. Do you have any relationships to prisons?
I do. I grew up after 9 years old for a couple of years. My father was in federal prison in Allen, Pennsylvania, so every weekend was trips down.
That's it. Her father was in prison and her mother used to take her to visit her dad, which is fine, you know. These things happen. It's not the first person to visit her dad in prison and probably won't be the last. But it's obviously had an effect on her mother going into prison because she now fancies prisoners.
Down to Pennsylvania from Connecticut. Phone calls, collect calls. We'd have to be home at a certain time. Letters. We have to write letters back to my dad. So my life consisted of that, very young, going to prisons. And then I decided to work in them after seeing the treatment my father received. Not saying my dad is innocent because he admitted to his crimes. I just had a different perspective and I wanted to help people.
So he didn't respond to you directly, at least at first. He gave your letter to...
You can help people without helping family annihilators. She could pick shoplifters or something like that.
Another inmate there, a gentleman named Dylan Talman. And you eventually got engaged to Dylan.
I did.
How did your letters lead to that?
Well, when
Again, overloaded message. Oh, hang on. You're all still there, aren't you? Are you still there? Yeah, I think you're still there. I'll carry on anyway.
When I wrote to Chris, he gave the letter to Dylan and the picture that I sent. And then Dylan wrote back explaining that Chris was involved with somebody and he gets a lot of letters every day. And he started writing to me. And then I continued writing with Dylan and I didn't reach out to Chris.
Apparently, we make around 35,000 decisions a day. What exercise to do, which scarf.
Reach out to Chris again.
So you eventually broke off your engagement.
Yes.
Just to get everyone on the same
Yes.
page. Partially, I'm hearing because Dylan thought you were more interested in Chris than him.
Yes, and that's not true. There was no love triangle at all. I had no interest in Chris in that way, not romantically at all.
So I'm going to show the audience a photo that you did send to Chris.
Absolutely.
This is in the first letter, and people, when they see this photo, are going to think it's proof that you were trying to romantically pursue him.
Yeah, no.
You were not trying to date Chris Watts?
I was not. Absolutely not.
And why include the picture of yourself?
I wanted him to know who he was speaking to. The letter I sent was very informal. I didn't talk anything clinical to him for my profession. I just wanted to talk to him as a friend and tell him that there are people that don't feel that he either completely did this or did it at all.
So Chris Watts was recently called the most hated man in his prison.
Yes.
And there are probably a fair number of people in prisons that aren't liked. It's a harsh moniker.
Yes.
And you said that you eventually did get to talk to him. So I want to understand more about what's going on in his mind. He spoke a dozen times.
Yes.
You obviously have some insights here. So you've argued that he's funny on the phone. I don't think any of us have really seen that side of him.
He is. He was very...
How many of you think she actually wanted to get to know him, and how many of you think that she thought she could make a few quid out of it?
What you see in the videos is how he presents himself. He's very funny, he's kind, he has a dry sense of humor.
He's very funny. He's not very funny. He's literally, he hasn't got a personality whatsoever. He's not funny. How could he be funny? How could that man possibly be funny? Funny how? Like I amuse you? Anyone seen Goodfellas? Brilliant film, Goodfellas.
And he appears to be very genuine.
Did he ever flirt with you?
Not at all, no. Very respectful at all times.
Do you find him attractive?
I mean, I think he's a handsome gentleman. I think they're a beautiful family, but not in a romantic way.
Had a beautiful family.
There are times in your discussions where you say he has cried.
Yes.
What happened?
When he spoke to me about the family, his wife and his children, he said that he was crying on the phone, and I asked him what was he upset about. It was the first time he ever really showed anything besides humor and laughter, and he said that it bothered him when they showed him the pictures of his family after they passed, and that's when he cried on the phone and kind of broke down and showed remorse.
These are pictures of them after they'd been pulled out of the barrels.
What a cheek. Can you imagine? After doing what he done and having the absolute cheek to moan about it. To moan how hard it was to look at the pictures. Can you imagine that? The absolute cheek of it.
It's horrible.
It is.
All right, coming up, were Chris Watts and fellow inmate Dylan more than just friends? Christa reveals what she knows. Last year, news broke that convicted killer Chris Watts and another inmate named Dylan had been disciplined after Chris's Vaseline and a pair of his underwear were found in Dylan's cell. The news led some to speculate that they were romantically involved with each other. My guest, Christa, was engaged to Dylan at the time. So, Christa, what's your understanding of what really happened?
When Dylan was in Dodge Correctional, he was on a PO hold, which didn't allow him to have money on his books or his account. Therefore, Chris was next door to him, and Chris would often buy him stuff and give him things. And it's something pretty common that they do in prisons. I've worked in prisons in Connecticut, and that's something inmates do. They help each other out if somebody doesn't have food or clothing. And it's just something that Chris did. There was no relationship.
So there's a bag of stuff he gave it happened to have?
Yes, it had new underwear in it with Chris's name in it. They have to label everything. Vaseline, Dylan would use Vaseline on his lips, hygiene products, coffee, granola bars. There was much more besides just the Vaseline and underwear.
Sounds a bit raunchy at first, but when someone explains it like that, it's pretty, explainable, isn't it? There's a bag of stuff. He couldn't afford it. Chris was being nice and he just let him have his stuff. Chris's name was on it. And then they've just reported on the Vaseline and the boxer shorts, And then it's a big story then. But I don't know about you. I don't think I'd use Vaseline for a bit of lube in prison.
Okay.
I'm not going down that road.
Mr. Richello, you shared some letters that were...
Let's check the chat. Quickly.
appear to be between Chris and Dylan. And in these letters, there are messages that Chris is sending to you.
Yes.
And in one of them, I'm going to quote it. Chris writes, "I could see Christa calling up here, giving the staff a piece of her mind and letting them have it in true Northeastern over-the-top style. My wife and her family were from New Jersey, and you don't piss anyone off from the North. Ha ha," he writes. So it's a little bizarre that Chris compared you to his murdered wife, the wife that he murdered. How does that make you feel?
I mean, when I think of Shanann, I just see a beautiful individual, and if I could be an ounce of what she is, that's a compliment to me.
So Chris's wife, Shanann, had lupus, which is something that you've also told me that you have.
Yes.
And this next letter refers to that. He writes, she has to keep her anxiety.
It's not even like she's dog ugly, is it? She's a pretty attractive lady, and she's going for these prisoners.
Down, meaning you. Brother, this is triggering the flares that she's having. She can handle this. I know she can. So again, he's giving you advice that I'm certain, gave Shanann, a woman he has admitted to murdering, at least legally.
Yes.
So you have a master's degree in psychology. You say you've worked in prisons in the past. Let me ask you a tough question. Do you think Chris Watts was corresponding with you so he could manipulate you, so he could get things from you?
Yeah. I don't think he's completely not manipulative. I don't feel he manipulates me. I haven't felt that way. But do I think he manipulates others? It's possible, yes.
Staying late again?
Yep, got
Sorry,
that calls the
I'll get this sorted
You
soon.
really need to switch to Monday CRM. Your old CRM is holding you back.
My CRM is not old.
Yeah,
He does manipulate people.
I believe so, yes.
It's probably convenient for them both. Chris gets to see a bit of eye candy, and once he gets to know her, he gets to get her to give him money and items and commissionary and stuff like that, you know? So it's convenience for both of them, really. She's obviously either wants a relationship or money or both. And Chris obviously needs stuff bringing in or sending in. They done her dirty with that title, though, that prison love triangle. They done her dirty on that.
He says in one of his letters that his mom, Cindy, will call you. Again, it's a fairly intimate thing to introduce someone to their mother. So why would Chris Watts do that to you if he doesn't have interest in you?
Right. When the incident happened with the boxers and the Vaseline in Dylan's cell, Dylan was placed into seg for about a month.
What's that mean?
Segregation, when they put him, they quote, in the hole, they put him in segregation.
Put him down the block for having lube.
Was something going on between them sexually?
Yes, and they also felt the contraband. They called it contraband. It's not supposed to be in each other's cells. So I didn't talk to Dylan for about 2 weeks. Chris was given 2 weeks in segregation. He came out, and then he contacted Cindy, his mother, to tell her to call me, to inform me that Dylan was in segregation. And then that's when she contacted me. And then she and I had a very close relationship from then on.
Does Cindy think her son murdered Shanann?
No, she doesn't.
But he confessed it on tape to her husband.
Yes, yes.
Bearing in mind, this is a few years ago now. I can't speak for Cindy, but I'm not sure if she has come around to watching, if she's come around to the idea that Chris has done it or not. So I can't say either way on that. But this is filmed a few years ago, so let's bear in mind that her opinion might have changed by now.
My opinion, and from the conversations I've had, I do feel, and I want to say my opinion, I do feel the mistress that he had and her family and possible friends were involved in that.
So I want to ask you about another person mentioned in Chris's letter.
I don't even need to say put a 1 in the chat if you think Nicole Kessinger helped. I think she manipulated him, definitely. The big question is that 111-minute phone call on the night of the murders. You've got the phone ping as well. Now, I've seen reports online that ping is because she was on her way to work, and then I've seen other reports or statements where people have said there's no way that ping was on her way to work, it's in the wrong direction. So, you know, it all depends on where you read. I can find it in the discovery, I just haven't had a chance to go over it all because it's so long.
He writes, pray for me because my calls with Anna have been very lustful lately.
Yeah.
So explain to everybody who Anna is and what is Chris's relationship with her.
Okay, when I wrote to Chris, he was dating Anna. She was somebody that he was dating. I'm not sure if they're still dating, but they were dating, and she and I became friends, and we talked a couple of times a day. And he was concerned because he turned to religion and feels very religious. He felt that he was committing a sin by having those kind of conversations with her.
I can't find much on Anna, but I think Anna was either part of Cadle's lot. She was definitely trying to grift off Chris. I think most people that are involved in this case that went to see him around about that time, they were all trying to have their own agendas. So take that as you will.
I'm going to ask you one more time, because when I first heard the case, like everybody else in America, shocked.
Absolutely.
Couldn't believe it could possibly happen. Then I watched, and I have done this several times, the video of him telling his father that he broke and killed her. So why do you think he's innocent?
From what I feel and from what I was told, he already said that he already lost his wife and children. He wasn't going to lose his parents and sister and niece and nephew. So he decided just to confess to that, to keep everyone alive.
This is dark.
It is. It's sad. It's unimaginable.
Do you have any regrets about your relationship with Chris Watts?
I don't.
The other thing as well, when he was arrested, or when he was taken in for the voluntary interview, which then became his arrest, the police reported that night on the news, not the police, the news, the mainstream news reported on that night, Chris Watts has confessed to killing his wife and 2 daughters. There was no mention of the baby. And he hadn't confessed at that point. He'd confessed to killing Shanann, but he hadn't confessed to the kids at that point when they reported it.
I feel what I did was okay. I know there's a lot of people that don't like me, and they probably think I'm crazy for my opinion and what I feel, but I stick by it, and I just want all the families involved and loved ones to find peace.
Well, thank you for sharing your story on the show.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, Chris's mistress, Nicole Kessinger, willingly provided evidence to investigators after these murders and is reportedly now living in witness.
Willingly provided investigators evidence. She didn't do it willingly, did she? She didn't want to give her phone records at first. She deleted a load of records. They had to ask her a few times for her phone records. And I think she had 2 phones as well. I could be wrong, because they took one phone off her and she had another phone. Whatever happened, she was dealt with far too leniently. Hey guys, Jerry, Kaylee, Candy, Jennifer, Potted Mint, funny like a clown. Probably a work phone, maybe. Fantastic movie, it is. Funny how? Funny I amuse you?
This protection. According to authorities, Chris Watts acted alone when he committed these unthinkable murders. Coming up, we have more shocking revelations from Chris Watts' prison letters. We'll be right back. We're back with more revelations from the prison letters of Chris Watts. In one letter, Chris writes of evidence that is known and has never been examined, and claims there was an abuse of power and coercion and procedural issues that were committed by law enforcement. No one has covered this case more closely than Crime Stories with Nancy Grace host Nancy Grace. She's also the author of Don't Be a Victim, a beautifully done book, and she joins us now. So Nancy, let's talk a little bit about Chris Watts. He has filed an appeal. Actually, he hasn't filed an appeal that I know of.
God, they've woken Nancy Grace up to come on and have her say now.
Has he done anything else or offered any evidence that he is falsely accused, because he confessed to these crimes?
If you live in England and you're between 50 and 80, there's a chance you could get approved.
Oh, Dr. Oz, how I would love to get him up on the stand on cross-examination when he says procedural errors, coerced behavior, injustice. What injustice? What procedural error? It seems to throw out legal terms he's learned in the jailhouse library, but there's nothing to support it. Let me remind everybody, he took a guilty plea. This is another lie by Chris Watts to manipulate women. And I got a lot to say about that too, Oz.
Well, let's get to that. What is it about Chris Watts that attracts this type of attention?
Number one, some people think he's physically attractive. Not me. I think he's a killer. He looks like the devil to me because I know what he did. But you got to look.
He's probably the most high-profile prisoner in the world at that time, if not still. Everybody knows who Chris Watts is. That's what attracts him.
At these women, no offense to Christa or all the other women writing Chris Watts, some of them are insecure. To some women, he's a martyr and wrongfully convicted. To others, he tells them the gory details because they want to hear it. Then you have your run-of-the-mill fame seekers. They're all misled.
Actually, we brought this up, but I want to touch on it again. I've interviewed another woman who wrote to Chris Watts. Her name is Sherilyn Cadle, and she's a grandmother. And she wrote because she wanted to understand why he would do these heinous things. And in one letter to her, he wrote in detail about killing his family. To your point, you can see the handwriting, by the way, appears the same in the letter to her and the letters that Christa gave us. I'm going to pull out just one word. You know, just look at the word family, right? Does it look pretty similar, like the same person wrote?
Oh, my goodness. This is the same handwriting.
Right. So in one letter, he's saying, I did something horrible. And the other one, he says, I'm innocent. So what you're pointing out, I think, comes to bear.
My point is, he is conning these women. And this is the deal. When you don't know a horse, Oz, look at the track record. He has manipulated Shanann. I'm giving myself chill bumps right now. Shanann loved him so much. And according to evidence, she was praying to God when he strangled her after he had sex with her, by the way. He had sex with her, then he killed her. Oh. Then he killed his 2 little girls.
I've always thought that's a bit strange because he said she came home from... He said she came home from the airport, went to bed, and then he went to work that morning, but they had sex. Now, she came home in the grey t-shirt with the heart on. He said she wanted to have a shower to get the airport off her. So then she's come home, travelled all the way home in her clothes. And they've had sex. And then she's put that t-shirt back on. And then she's found in a hole with that t-shirt on. Why would she put that t-shirt back on? It doesn't make sense. If she's had a shower and everything, surely she would put the fresh clothes on. Which makes me think he killed her as soon as she came home. What do you think, guys? Yeah. I don't think they did either. Why would she put the t-shirt back on? He said that I don't know if he said she had a shower or she likes to take a shower to get the airport off her. Yeah, her makeup was still on. It's not the same shirt. Hang on then. Yeah, it was still on. I thought it was the same shirt. bear with me a minute. Okay, so I had them all in order. I had all the evidence photos all in order. And why would she put her bra back on exactly? Yeah, I think he done it straight away. She had her underwear on, she had her bra on, she had clothes on. Why would she not have... She would have pajamas on if she went to sleep and he killed her in the morning. Why would she have her clothes on? And if they'd had sex and they'd gone to bed, because he said they slept, or she had slept at least. JC, sometimes pregnant women sleep in... Okay. Potted Men, thank you very much. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much. I don't think that's the same shirt as she had on the porch. Okay. Maybe I've got it wrong with a shirt on. She had a grey shirt on the Ring camera. Okay, let's say it's not the same shirt then. But for his version of events, she's gone to bed. She had the jeans on. She was wearing jeans. Thank you, Potted Mint. The time doesn't add up. I'm still convinced he didn't have enough time to do all that on that one morning. It's a lot to do. Okay, I'm going to double check the t-shirt because I'm unsure on that. I thought it was the same shirt. Yeah, nightwear. Exactly, Moira. It would be nightwear, wouldn't it? Because she would go to bed, which I still think lends more credence to he killed her straight away. Because the other thing, if you remember the Dubs, if you remember the video where the dog are searching the house, yeah? Her suitcase is by the bottom of the stairs. And then if you notice, it gets moved to the basement. Her case is in the basement at one point. Now, one of those dogs, they alert to cadaver. They're cadaver dogs, so bodies. And they also alert to stress and high stress situations. Don't ask me how they know, but they know, right? So that dog was going nuts in the basement. And I think the dog picked up something on the suitcase. Like something that could sense some sort of struggle on the suitcase. So I think she's put her case down and he's killed her. Because the other thing as well, I've said this all along. A lot of people say, well, she would have fought back. There's no way. There's no way that she would have let him get away with no marks on him. Well, he had marks on his neck. And I've said this time and time again, right? If someone gets you from behind and puts you in a chokehold, and they don't even have to be much bigger than you. The only thing that you need to have is surprise, right? If you choke someone from behind and you're a little bit taller than them from behind, and you catch them unaware, they will not be able to move. They will not be able to fight back. The breath would be snatched out of them, and they would not be able to fight back. I can guarantee you it, because I've been put in a chokehold like that. You can't move, and I'm a fully grown man. So, that's why I say. So I need to double check the t-shirt, because I don't want to be putting out false things. So we think the t-shirt's different, do we? So anyway, let's say the t-shirts are different. Yeah, exactly. A rear naked choke. You can't move, especially if you're not expecting it. And he's fit. He worked out. He works out all the time. He'd be strong. I know he doesn't look big, but he'd be strong. She'd be tired. She'd be coming home from the airport. She'd be knackered from flying and commuting all day. She's pregnant, so she's going to be tired as well. Exactly, Kaylee. If he got her by surprise, she would not be able to. She would not be able to react. Okay, Tiff, no problem. Going to the airport. Okay, love, no problem. Dawn, she couldn't fight back. Yeah, exactly. And neck surgery, Jennifer. Exactly, yeah. Moira, Paddy, I don't think she knows what's with the morning makeup to bed. No, I don't think so either. It's okay, Dubs, you're here now. Don't worry. I didn't even know I was coming on tonight, to be honest. I was doing a video and I thought, you know what, it'd just be easier. I came across this video with this Chrissy Richello, Dylan Tallman's girlfriend. She started writing to Chris. So I thought I'd just cover that tonight. I think we've watched most of it. If you've got a gold star, thank you very much. You've been with me 6 months. All the green ones have been 3 months or longer. Tiff is the Discord manager. Moira. Dubs is a manager. YouTube manager. Candy is moderator, which I've just made. D-Rod moderator. Moira. Who else did I make a moderator? There's another one. Desi's always busy, but she does come in and help when she can. We know about Desi. And Vixen. I hope Vixen's okay. She's had a few health problems, so. Mushy Peas. Incredibly kind of you. That's amazing. Oh, Claire, that's it. Claire, sorry, Claire. Claire, I was speaking to you earlier on as well. Dawn, thank you, Dawn. Amazing. That's incredibly kind in January as well, when everybody's skint because of Christmas and you're putting your hands in your pockets for me. It's incredibly kind. I'm honoured. Thank you so much. Kaylee, I have lupus some days and I can't move, especially when I was pregnant. Yeah. I was so wiped out. I had the strength of a kitten. You definitely had that. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Lauren. It's okay, you forgot. I'm forgiven. She was weak standing up. Yeah, so. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Dubs. Thanks for thanking them. Okay, guys. I'm not sure if we got to the end. Let's have a look. Paddy, when did Chris Watts talk about relationship and what symptoms? When was it that Chris did that talk? Do you know what? I can't think when it was off the top of my head, but I think Shanann asked him to do it because JC, I can't afford to. Don't worry, JC. You're here. You're in the live. You're watching. Don't worry about it. Honestly. Oh, another thing I want to say as well. With members and that, I've said this all along. There's 3 membership levels, right? And there is no difference in between the membership levels because at first, I didn't put any difference between just viewing and being a member because I didn't think it was fair for people that couldn't afford the memberships. And with time, the memberships have grown and grown. So I've had to start doing things for the members because it's not fair. But the membership levels are all the same. It doesn't matter how much you pay. You don't get more for being a member. I just thought of it, it's fair if I just do everything for all 3 tiers, and then it's up to you how much you want to pay to be a member. And I think that's fair. Someone said to me, how can you charge £22 for a membership? I said, well, number one, I don't charge £22 for a membership. It's just I had to put 3 tiers on there. YouTube wanted me to put 3 tiers, and they're the 3. There's 3 sections, and in each section, they're the lowest tier of each section. And in my memberships, there is no difference if you pay £100 or £1. There's absolutely no difference in what you get to see, because I didn't think it was fair for someone to pay a lot of money and someone not be able to afford it, and everyone gets all different experience. You might as well just, if you want to donate to the channel, donate. If you want to be a member, be a member. But I'm not like restricting people because they can't afford to. Even the Discord, like some people say, oh, you should only have members in the Discord. I said, no, to be fair, all the members, I spoke to the members. I said, do you fine with non-members being in Discord? And all the members like, yeah, no problem. And that's just the way it should be. The only problem is with membership. The only thing I thought with the memberships was with the Discord. I thought, at least if they're members, it weeds out the people that just want to go in and cause trouble. But we haven't had any trouble in there. We've had 2 people in there that have caused trouble, and the mods have got rid of them straight away. So that's the way I work things. And then I still get people that criticize me, so there we are. I can't do it any fairer than I'm doing it. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Pfeiffer. Toolbooth, thank you, and welcome back. Yeah, exactly. It's up to the creator. Spooks. No timeouts here. Do you know what? We don't very rarely get anybody that causes trouble. Daniel Wiley, for the people that can afford it and for the people that appreciate the content, it's a way to support someone who exerts energy to entertain people. Exactly. There's nothing wrong, you know. Yeah. The amount of hours it takes on YouTube. To be honest, I forget to ask people to subscribe all the time. Unless it's at the end of the video. I never promote the PayPal, ever. My mods have started doing it. Dubs has started doing it. My YouTube manager, because I wouldn't promote the PayPal. So, there we are. Anyway. Plus, remember, when you're watching, people say, oh, well, I can't afford to be a member, but you're forgetting I get paid from the adverts as well. And the amount of people that moan about the adverts, and then they're not people that regularly watch. They're people that will come in and watch once, and they say, oh, the amount of my adverts are set to the lowest that you can get on YouTube. They're automatically picked by YouTube, and they're at the least. They're set on the least amount of adverts. And people still moan. You know. God forbid we make £1 or 2, innit? Anyway, I'm not going down that road. I'm going to start moaning again. Horses Gone Wild, welcome. I love your channel. Thank you very much. Watching in the Netherlands. Okay, let's get back into it. Time is money, exactly. All right, I was going to have a look for the evidence photos, but I'm not going to let's get rid of that. I've lost it now. Hang on.
One of them saying, Daddy, no. I'm working up to a point, Oz. Just go with me. Then they are taken out to Anadarko, where he worked. They were crammed, forced down into oil containers, forced. The opening was 8 inches. It tore the skin off of those little girls, ages 3 and 4, shoulders. And as they marinated in that oil, they were de-sleeved. That's a nice way of saying their skin came off. He sent his wife to a shallow grave where she had coffin birth, Oz. She expelled baby Nico. Yes, she gave birth, coffin birth, into her underwear in the dirt. That is what he did. Why is that significant? Why do I bring up those details? I don't enjoy them. I'm not some ghoul. I bring them up because his confessions fit perfectly with the forensic evidence. Why does he know the details? Because he committed.
Well, I remember, can you post, or somebody post the Discord link in the chat, please? Because I haven't done it for the live. And Spooks, can you post the Facebook page as well? There's a Facebook page now, Paddy Productions Facebook page. And if anybody knows how to do it, can they post the link for my second channel? There's a second channel. All my attention's still going to be on this channel. All I'm doing on there is a backup channel. It's just going to have raw video on there. I'm not even going to edit it. I'm just putting raw video up as a channel. Because that's what people do. Apparently, they have a second channel just as a backup. So, at the end of the video, I'll put all the links in as well if you forget or someone doesn't know how to do it or whatever. So that's Facebook, Discord, and the second channel. Nobody wants merch yet because it's January, so.
The crimes, and by God in heaven, I will not stand by and let somebody blame Shanann Watts or any other innocent person for what he did.
That's I'd never heard some of those details. They are gruesome.
And that's the tip of the iceberg, Oz. The tip of the iceberg.
Let me bring in forensic psychologist and author of Evil Thoughts, Wicked Deeds, because that's what we're talking about, Dr. Chris Mahandi. Chris, what does getting all these love letters and other communications do to the head of a prisoner like Chris Watts?
Feeds his ego, keeps his game going. He can still have his hustle. You know, when he was out there, he had his had his wife, he had his mistress. He's leading a double life, and he's able to get all of that admiration, that adulation to gratify his needs. He's still doing it from prison with these, I would call them victims. He's still got victims out there that he's manipulating. He's an opportunist. This is what he does.
Nancy, I appreciate your passion. Chris, all the great wisdom. A brand new version, by the way, of Nancy's book, Don't Be a Victim, is available today. Be sure to get a copy. It is superbly well done.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out.
What do we think about that then? I'm going to do a bit more. There is another interview with that Christa Richello, or whatever her name is. Christa Richello, Chrissy Richello, and there's some podcasts. So I'm going to pick out the good bits to go over. See what information she brings to the table. I'm working on these other documentaries as well, but, well, I say documentaries, videos, but I keep getting sidetracked with what. I mean, I asked people the other day what they wanted me to do. Do they want me to do like one of each? And like, to be fair, I built most of the channel on what. Every time I do another video on something else, nobody watches it. Let's have a look at the comments. Let me just shut that window there. Let me get rid of that. I'm dropping frames now. It must be the computer. So I'm not going to keep this going on too long. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, okay? Like I say, there's Facebook, Paddy PDS2, Paddy Plus it's called, Paddy PDS Plus. There's one video or two videos up there now. Go and have a look at that. I'm going to have a look into this a bit more. Not this case, this woman on this, because Paddy, we jumped to 113 and it dropped to 79. Oh, that many. So I do apologize because I'm hopeless at letting people know when these things are, because I don't plan them. I just like go live. I never know when I'm going to be able to do it. So thank you all for tuning in, and I love you all. Remember, these cases can be emotional and stressful, but most of all, don't have nightmares. Let's hope I don't leave the stream on for 40 minutes like last time. Bye, guys.